Welcome to your most educative and enlightening program, Healthy Living, aka your personal preventive measures against COVID-19 and other diseases. On this program, we give you home tips and bring medical experts to educate and enlighten you on 1,000 ways to stay healthy and live longer. Thank you for joining us. If you are just tuning in, this is your most educative and enlightening program, Healthy Living, aka your personal preventive measures against COVID-19 and other diseases. Today, we're talking malice, the side effect of keeping malice, the negative impact of malice keeping, facts you must know about malice keeping. Malice is a behavior that is intended to harm people or their reputations or cause them embarrassment and upset. Malice doesn't just happen. It could be as a result of misunderstanding with someone or a grudge against someone. If after having a misunderstanding with someone, you stay away from them, stop talking or relating with them, malice has started. Keeping malice is very dangerous because it won't just stop at you not talking with them. You begin to deliberately act negatively towards them or having the desire to inflict pain or suffering to such a person because of your ill feelings towards them. Bitterness, pains, grudges, unforgiveness are all emotions that lead to malice keeping. Facts you should know about keeping malice. Did you know that harboring bitterness in your heart leads to malice keeping? Did you know that keeping malice is poisonous to your health and it's like you drinking poison and expecting someone else to die? Did you know that when you keep malice with someone, it's like you imprisoning yourself and handing the key to that person? Did you know that bitterness leads to malice and can be easily passed from one person to the other? Did you know that keeping malice has a significant impact on your family, children, and those around you? Did you also know that malice-keeping attitude can cause your family, friends, and acquaintances to discredit you? So you didn't know all this? Well, now you know. How keeping malice can affect your health negatively. Physical imbalance. Keeping malice means you have a resentment, which causes imbalance in the hormones from the various glands of the body, producing many physical symptoms and diseases. It weakens immune system. The stress of bitterness weakens the immune system and heightens your susceptibility to physical ailments. Often, physical disorders can be traced to a point in time where bitterness began to develop. Diminishes comeliness. Refusal to forgive seizes your joy, happiness, and peace. It causes fatigue and loss of sleep. Soon, your eyes and facial features reflect your inner distress, which is detrimental to your well-being. Mental and emotional consequences and depression. It takes emotional energy to maintain a grudge. When your emotional energy is exhausted, you become depressed and this affects your health negatively. Stress. Keeping malice produces stress hormones in your body. You become worn out and unable to cope with daily challenges. Detrimental emotional focuses. When you keep malice, it means you are harboring bitterness and resentment. This creates an emotional focus towards the person who is offended. This focus causes you to become like the person you resent. The more you think about his actions, the more you begin to reflect the basis attitude that prompts his actions. So, in essence, you are exactly like the person that you are resenting even through keeping malice. Candidly, Malice keeping promotes inability to love God. If a man say, I love God, and hates his brother, he is a liar. For he that loveth not his brother whom he can see, how can he love God whom he cannot see? This commandment we have from him, that he who loveth God must also love his brother. 1 John 4:20-21. Frankly speaking, if you have a friend, colleague, or neighbor that brings negative energy towards you all the time, every time it is argument, fight, getting upset, etc., cut off from him or her, because you are in charge of your territory and are also in charge of the people around you and the people you allow into your life. Frankly speaking, for those who are stretched by a family member, it is true we cannot choose our family, and we cannot just cut away from our family. This is also true for husband and wife. In a situation such as this, God's wisdom can handle any situation. We need to do this by asking God for his wisdom on how to handle such matters. Whatever you do, protect your territory. Don't bear any grudge, but love everyone. So, as long as you are living on this side of the heavens, offenses must come, either by you or others. But settle all misunderstandings quickly before it degenerates. Malice keeping can cause doubts about your relationship with God. Jesus said, "For if you forgive men their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if you do not forgive men their trespasses, neither will your heavenly Father forgive your trespasses." So instead of you to recruit people to join you in hating others or keeping malice, you will do well to talk things over, clear things up, clear the air if need be, forgive and move on with your life. For life is too short for you to spend it keeping malice. So, you didn't know all that? Well, now you know. Now that the information is given to you and it is at your fingertips, we believe that you will make the best use of it. Okay, let's meet our expert. Okay, today we're talking stroke. Enlighten us more on the issue of stroke.
Okay. Stroke is a medical emergency, and if not treated, can lead to death or a permanent disability. Stroke can also be called cerebrovascular accident, or in a layman's language, brain attack. Stroke can be defined as interruption in the blood supply of the arteries in the brain. It is a disease that affects the arteries leading to the brain or the arteries within the brain. What usually happens is that when the blood vessels carrying oxygen into the brain is blocked, either by a blood clot or when the artery suddenly bursts, then a stroke will develop. And the stroke develops in the sense that it affects any part of the body. This is because all parts of the body are directly connected to the brain. So when blood stops to flow in other parts of the brain cells, what happens is that the brain cells start to die. And any part of the body that is being affected would present as a symptom. For example, if the speech center is affected, the patient will have difficulty in speaking or inability to talk. If it is the right side or the left side of the patient that is affected, the patient will present with weakness or numbness of either the right or the left side. Depending on the part of the brain that is affected, It could affect both sides of the body. If it affects the vision, the patient could present with blurring of vision or loss of vision. So it depends on the part of the brain cells that is affected.
That is so enlightening. All right, doctor. What do we do to prevent stroke?
We have three main causes of stroke. We have the ischemic stroke, we have the hemorrhagic stroke, and we have the transient ischemic attack stroke. This one is called the mini stroke. The ischemic stroke is defined as a blood clot in the vessel in the brain. So it prevents blood from flowing into other parts of the brain cells. We also have the hemorrhagic stroke. This is when the pressure in the arteries are built up in the brain. What happens next is that the arteries could burst, or there could be a slow leaking vessel somewhere around the brain. We also have the transient ischemic attack stroke. The patient presents with the symptoms: slurring of speech, blurring of vision, dizziness, and within 24 hours, it goes. That stroke too could be very deadly, and so it must not be joked with. We just have to look into it, because that patient is prone to subsequent stroke. But there are risk factors that are associated with stroke. There are some factors we can control, and there are some factors we cannot control. The factors that we cannot control is age. Anybody can come down with stroke. Even the unborn children can present with stroke when they are born. But it is usually associated, the risk is usually higher with increasing age. And because you are advancing in age, you cannot say, I don't want stroke, so I don't want to grow old. No. Those factors we cannot prevent, we cannot control. The other factor we cannot control is our gender. Research has it that women are more prone to stroke than men. Race is also a factor we cannot control. But factors that we can control, which causes the high risk of us coming down with stroke: high blood pressure, hypertension. It can be controlled when we take our drugs. A diabetic patient, they have the tendency of also coming down with stroke, but it can be controlled when they take their drugs. Smokers, it can be controlled when they avoid smoking. When you avoid taking a lot of alcohol, we can control the risk factors. Sickle cell disease patients, we can control it if we educate both partners involved in marriage by telling them the consequences of their genotype. If one is AS and the other one is AS, if they can be educated, at least we could control that aspect. Those on oral contraceptives too, because oral contraceptives is associated with higher risk of coming down with stroke. These factors can be controlled. Even hypercholesterolemia, that is high cholesterol, can also be controlled. But one good thing about preventing stroke is when you hit LD, you do exercise, you avoid smoking, and you avoid taking too much of alcohol. All this can prevent stroke.
How far now?
I did.
Okay, where did they go like this?
They go patio. My friend will do.
Hey, okay. Hi.
Cab.
Okay. All right. That makes a lot of sense, okay?
No problem.
Wanna stop? Wanna wait first? I beg, Steph, wear your mask. Wear them now.
We dey enter that. We no need face mask now.
Plus I go dey front and then two of them go dey back.
And na social distancing be that now. Me sef I dey wash my hand well at home with soap and water.
What if they delay me now? I think say they forget something for house. Now because of face mask, it just stop us.
My brother, this matter don't reach make I stop you now. This face mask issue not be small matter again, no. Now for una own good. As una dey wash una hand with soap and water well. E also good as una be two for the back of the motor. One person come sit down for front. That is social distancing. But e go better pass. Make una dey wear una face mask anytime when una dey comot from house dey go somewhere. None of una get face mask for inside bag. My brother, abeg bring face mask for me. Okay, how much say you dey sell am?
100 naira.
Abeg wear am. Take. Wear am. Wear. Take. Oh yeah. My brother, abeg take your own.
Which kind of thing be this one? I know they wear this kind of thing. I be masquerade.
The masquerade matter we dey talk now. Okay, make I ask you question. You get family or people for house where you love and then love you?
You one go get. I get. I love them. They love me.
Even if you don't like to dey wear this face mask, I beg make you dey wear am because of those people wey love you and because of the people wey you love. Okay, make I ask you. These people wey dey inside this motor wey you wan carry so, na because you no love them because they no be your family member?
Even if they are not my family member, I love them.
Wear am for the sake of love, I beg my brother, I beg.
No problem. I'll be wear them.
Okay. Thank you.
Give me two. So that I go wear them tomorrow too.
Ẹ wọ ohun ìdáàbòbò imú tí àwọn òyìnbó pè ní face mask. Ẹ jẹ́ kí a máa fọwọ́ wa pẹ̀lú omi àti ọṣẹ dáradára. Ẹ jẹ́ kí a máa ṣe nítorí ìfẹ́ kí a sì máa wọ̀ nítorí ìfẹ́. For sponsorship and partnership, call 080-3833-3130. Nelly Joseph, the mirror of the society and the love ambassador, touching lives and impacting the society positively.
There are so many signs you can watch out for in a patient with stroke. Some signs can come as early as 7 days before the patient can actually come down with stroke. And some of the signs are persistent headache of unknown cause. The patient keeps complaining, I have headache. You have done everything within, but the patient still keeps complaining there is headache. So we should watch out for that. Dizziness, slurring of speech, blurring of vision, vomiting, and in some cases that vomiting could be associated with hemorrhagic stroke.
Okay, doctor, they are curable?
Stroke can be prevented, but it cannot be cured. And that is why we do aggressive treatment when it comes to noticing the signs and symptoms to prevent that patient from coming down with stroke than for the patient to develop the stroke, because it's a permanent disability. So what we do, we help you with physiotherapy. So many healthcare professionals are involved in taking care of a stroke patient. So we usually advocate our patients for all those who have the high risk factors like hypertension, diabetes, heart diseases, taking smoking, taking alcohol. If we can control this, if we can take our drugs regularly and not stop taking our drugs, because a lot of our patients will tell you, oh, they are healed. And I tell them, you are healed because when you come to the hospital and the doctor is able to make a diagnosis, oh, you have this ailment which can lead to stroke, and the doctor has given you drugs. Is that not healing? Sure. Is that not miraculous healing? What else do you want? It is God that has given us, we the doctors, the knowledge to be able to identify problems.
True.
And so when we are able to identify any ailment that could lead to death or a permanent disability in the patient, we should be able to advise the patient.
Patient to stick.
And the patient to stick to the advice.
Is there any case of this stroke leading to sudden death?
Of course. We have stroke that leads to sudden death. And that type of stroke is called hemorrhagic stroke.
Okay.
Some may not even give you warning sign. You just see the patient collapse. And that is all. But some will give you one warning sign, like vomiting, dizziness. And that is why they said hypertension is a silent killer. It doesn't give a warning sign. In terms of the hemorrhagic stroke.
Wow. All right, so if anyone is down with stroke, it becomes a case of management.
Yes, it becomes a case of management. We'll manage accordingly. If it is the speech, we'll start with physiotherapy, and then we have medical treatments too that can also manage the conditions. We'll manage with medical treatment as well as physiotherapy. That is what we do. So that is why it is better for you not to come down with stroke than to come down with stroke, because stroke is a permanent disability or can even lead to sudden death.
All right, you've heard from Dr. Bumi. Dr. Bumi is an expert. Listening to her, you will know indeed she is an expert in her profession. And she said prevention is better than cure. Do all you can not to get down with stroke, because if you do, it's either a permanent thing or sudden death in some cases. Thank you very much. Thank you, doctor.
Thank you.
Oh wow, there you have it. Now that we have educated and enlightened you on the side effects, the negative impact, the negative effect, you stay healthy and live longer. Remember to stay safe. Wash your hands regularly with soap and water. Keep your hands sanitized with alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Stay away from crowded places. If you must go out to public places, please wear your mask. A lot of you do not like wearing the mask. But if not for your sake, wear it for the sake of your loved ones, not to contact the disease and to prevent it from spreading. Keep maintaining the social and physical distancing as directed by NCDC, WHO, and the federal government. Remember that you can change the narrative. So stay positive despite negative narrative. You can also watch us live on YouTube and follow us on our social media handles as displayed on the screen. There you have it. Thank you for having me on today's episode. I am Nelly Joseph, and I will see you around soonest. Bye.